guys, here we are. We're gonna talk to you a little bit about equilibrium and stress today.
Wonderful.
So, in front of our live studio audience. See, that was really unfortunate. And then you always got one jerk.
Yeah, we'll have to put in like a Scooby-Doo like.
Okay, so first off, we're gonna just kind of go through the types of reactions. So if you'd like to click next.
I would love to.
Okay, so the first type we're gonna talk about is just the completion, and that's what we've been working with. When all of our reactants turn into products.
So like fire would be an example, right? If I burn a log or something.
Exactly. So something that can only go one way, really.
Okay.
Okay. So for the example here, look at that.
Fire.
Okay, fire, if you will.
I will.
All right. And so, like again, reactions that usually form gas or some type of solid precipitate, if you will. End of story.
Hard to get those back.
It can't. Yeah, I can't really get those back. Then the other kind we have are reversible. So these are very similar. If you keep clicking, I'll show an example here one more time. Thanks. Okay. So reversible batteries. Those are rechargeable batteries. Those are reversible reactions.
Oh, okay. So something where the reaction will proceed, and then at some point it will also go back to the original form as well.
Yes. A very common one that you're most familiar probably with are those sweet glasses like yours. Do they get dark when you go outside?
They don't.
Well, you're not that cool. So anyway, there's these glasses that you can wear that when you go out in the sun, they tint, and then you get in your car and then they untint, or back inside, whatever the case may be. Those are detint? Sure.
Detentified?
Reversible reaction.
Yes. Okay. Makes sense.
All right. So we're talking about equilibrium in general. Okay. Where if we look at a rate, we're talking about the rate at which the products and the reactants formation. Okay. So the rate where the reactants turn into products and the products turn back into.
Okay. So that's at equilibrium.
That's at equilibrium.
So the things going, the reactants reacting and the products unreacting is equal?
Yes, exactly. I kind of used this demonstration before. It was like if I gave you these markers and asked me to build me a marker tower 2x2,
Gotcha.
and then as you were building them 2x2, which I need another marker for,
Yes.
okay, I was also taking them back apart. So see what's happening here? The reactants are turning back.
Oh, that one doesn't
Yeah, I know
work.
it's a little. Yeah, they don't stick, but you don't get. You get.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So it kind of looks like this on a graph. When I start with the forward reaction, my product or my reactant number is really high.
Okay.
Okay, because that's where my reactants are. But over time, my reactants are turning into products, so that number's kind of decreasing a little bit until it reaches a spot where they're happening at the same time.
So at the very end of the graph, that's at equilibrium.
Correct. And then the reverse reaction, okay, is when the products are real low because they're not being made yet. But once they start being made, they also start going backwards.
So an example of this would be almost like if you're using, let's say, your cell phone while you're charging it, but you're using as much power as
you're charging.
As you're charging,
Yes.
the battery will stay at like 50% or whatever.
Exactly. That's a really good example.
You like that?
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to look just kind of at what dynamic equilibrium is, and that means if we're looking at it at the molecular level, that it is equal, but there's still movement. So it's not it's not a stop process.
Okay.
It's not like, oh, we're at equilibrium, over, not so much.
No.
So that means that these are happening at the same time. At the same time, the reactants are turning into products. The products are turning back into reactants.
Okay, and this is true only for things that go both ways. Like fire doesn't do this, right?
Right, so that would not be, yes.
Okay.
This is only for like those rechargeable batteries or your nice, sweet tinted glasses, which we don't have, those things.
Yeah, cool.
Okay? All right, so now there's a couple things. We have these things that are stresses on a system, okay? So a stress is anything that can change the system. Once it hits equilibrium, you put like a stress on it. So for example, you're chilling in your room, studying for your CUA, and all of a sudden your little brother or sister comes in, banging pots and bang. Okay? So that would be a stress.
Okay.
Okay? So there's this sweet...
I had no comment.
Yeah, I saw
So I
that.
just went with that.
Okay, so there's this guy, LeChatelier, his principle is saying that when a system's in equilibrium, it's disturbed, and it'll adjust to the disturbance.
Okay, so if I have this, let's go back to like using your cell phone. So if I'm charging it, I'm using it, the battery's staying at the constant rate. If I disturb the system, like all of a sudden decide I want to watch a movie on it, I will increase the usage, which means I'm going to decrease and shift everything around. It's going to mess with it.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So that's also very similar to the child example. Like you probably either close your bedroom door or maybe beat up your younger sibling,
Sure.
which is not encouraged.
No.
But we know that happens pretty regularly. Okay. So type of stresses we're going to go through. The first one is just going to be concentration. Okay, so I can increase the concentration of the reactants, or I can increase the concentration of the products.
Okay.
So if I increase the reactant, I'm going to shift towards the product direction.
Well, that makes sense. If I add more stuff to react,
It's going to make more products.
it'll
Yeah.
react. It'll make more products. Okay.
Now, in the same respect, if I decrease the reactant,
See what you did there with the font size.
yep,
Like
right?
it. Yeah.
I shift back towards the reactants.
Okay. So if I remove stuff that's reacting, it will shift to kind of compensate.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay.
Okay? But now if I increase a product, I shift towards the reactants.
Okay.
Okay? And then, of course, if I decrease a product, I shift back towards that product.
Okay.
So whichever one I decrease, I'm going to shift towards it. Whichever one I increase, I'm going to shift away from it.
Okay. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the last one we have is changes in temperature. Now this one's a little bit tricky. So you just want to look for where the heat is at.
Okay.
Okay. So in an exothermic reaction, you can see that the heat is on the
Product
side.
side.
Sorry, I
It's being
lost my
produced. No,
train
it's
of
okay.
thought there. Okay. So it's being produced. So that would be any number
Symbolized by the
KJ,
KJ,
or
kilojoules.
capital J. I usually put heat or energy, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So that one would be exothermic. Okay. So now here's where it gets tricky. I jack up the temperature of that system. Okay. Now where's my heat?
My heat's on the product side.
So I am going to shift opposite the heat.
Okay, so it's like adding a reactant, right? Except in this case, it's temperature. So I'm going to shift away from the side with temperature on it.
Exactly. So
Okay.
now if I decrease the heat, I of course want to.
Go the other way.
Yes,
Go towards
exactly.
the heat.
So now then the other kind of reaction we have is an endothermic. As you can see, the 12.6 kilojoules is on the reactant side of the,
Okay.
the
So it's
reaction.
going to use that much heat.
It's going to use that much heat, yep. So if I, there we go, increase the temp, I'm going to shift towards the product side. So I shift, anytime I increase, I shift away from the energy.
Okay.
Anytime I decrease, I shift towards it.
Okay.
So pretty
Kinda
easy.
makes sense,
Okay. So that's about all we got for you, and we will share it in class. See ya.